Welcome to the Plant Trainers Podcast, where we're helping people improve their quality of life through nutrition and fitness. And now, your hosts, nutrition and wellness coaches, international speakers, Adam and Shoshana Chaim.
Hey, I'm Adam Chaim.
And I'm Shoshana Chaim, and we are Propelled by Plants.
Today we bring to you episode 368, Creating a Life of Vibrant Health with Soul and Social.
In this episode of the Plant Trainers Podcast, I'm being interviewed by Tarah, Abram, and Giroux-Wyton from Soul and Social. Tarah and Renee wanted to talk about dietary lifestyle factors that keep you feeling vibrant and young and actually wanting to stay intimate. Many of our clients come to us feeling run down, tired, and maybe even need help because of medications that they've taken before, or they need medications to be able to do the things that they want to do. And we help them to be able to move forward past that. And that's something that Renee and Tarah wanted to talk about today, because we know how devastating it could be for some people to not be able to partake in activities that they want to.
We hope you enjoy seeing Shoshana on the other side of the microphone. And if you're interested in learning more about anything that she talks about in this episode, please reach out to us at info@planttrainers.com. And if you have young ones listening in on this episode, just know a little forewarning that there might be a couple of things that they might need to cover their ears for. So here's the thing. We all want to do a little bit better. We all want to make better choices, and we all want to have someone to count on to push us just a little bit outside of our comfort zone. But not everyone is willing to hire a coach or find a friend that could help us get us to where we want to go. That's what's great about our Propelled by Plants performance tees and our Training for Life soft cotton t-shirts. They're that reminder that is literally on your shoulder, encouraging you, reminding you, and building your confidence to run a little further, get up a little earlier, or make better choices at meal and snack time. Don't you want a little bit more of that? So head over to planttrainers.com/shop and pick up one or both of those shirts and start walking a little taller or longer or faster. Sizes go quick, so order yours today. And if you have one already, snap a pic and tag us on Instagram or Facebook. And now for a moment of gratitude.
This is a time in the show where we normally share our moment of gratitude with you, but because we've put them up early to take a little bit of a vacation, we are going to encourage you to think about your moment of gratitude.
Welcome to Soul and Social, everybody. We are live. My name is Tarah, and I'm here today with my fabulous co-host, Renee. And we have a very special guest joining us. It's Shoshana. I happen to know Shoshana through the Breakthrough Show. Actually, that's where we connected. But she is also the co-host of the popular Plant Trainers podcast. She's the founder of planttrainers.com and a Canadian wellness expert with a special interest in plant-based nutrition. She helps individuals and their family members overcome their symptoms from physical and mental health issues by helping them improve their lifestyle, as well as a variety of proven tools. Shoshana is an executive associate with an advanced molecular health company that helps individuals whichever health challenge you can think of. She's an author, international speaker, and family gal who loves teaching kids yoga. I'm so excited to have you here today, girl. We're going to have fun. We're going to talk about vibrant health and all this good stuff. Benefits of vibrant, healthy living.
I'm always excited to have another foodie on.
Love food.
Right?
You need to eat to live, not live to eat. And I'm like, I think there's a healthy balance in there, right?
There is.
Yeah.
Yeah, there totally is. And a lot of people lose that.
Yeah, they do. And it doesn't have to be, a lot of times our Instagram at the beginning, when we had our Instagram up of Plant Trainers, our food pictures weren't really good. They weren't really pretty. I mean, they're still not amazing, but they weren't really pretty, and they didn't look like they were created just for picture's sake. For us, it was all about, we want to eat really good food, really good tasting food that doesn't take a long time to eat. And we don't have a lot of time to photograph it because we work, we're helping others, we're podcasting, we're raising children. There's
we're eating
in the day to make the food look not edible anymore. So I'm all about keeping it real. Yeah.
That's, you know what, and that's so important. It's funny because I found in my experience, I had a few people looking at my Instagram and Facebook page for a lot of years, and they're like, it's like you don't live in real life. And that's the part that I think for those of us who are in nutrition and the health and wellness, a lot of our times we forget to be real. And I love that you're just keeping it real.
Yeah, keeping it real. Our marketing team doesn't like that, but
yeah,
we got to
know.
Okay, so Shoshana, can you tell us a little bit about how you got into this? What led you into living like a plant-based nutrition lifestyle?
Sure. So we weren't always plant-based. It's not, we weren't vegetarian for years and then decided to become plant-based. But basically, almost 10 years ago, I was pregnant with my daughter. I didn't know she was my daughter at the time, but I was pregnant with my second child. And Adam had a sharp pain going through his chest and his arm, my husband. And he called me. I wasn't home. And he said, my dad's coming to pick me up, bring me to the hospital. I have this pain. I don't think it's a heart attack. I'm only 35, but I should go to the hospital. So he went to the hospital and basically they said, you're not having a heart attack. They did a bunch of tests and they sent him home. And a couple of weeks later, the phone rang and he got called into the doctor's office where the doctor basically told us that he has a tumor on his kidney that needs to be removed immediately because it looks kind of fishy and they don't want to wait around to do a biopsy. They just want to take it out right away. Mm-hmm. And that if it's what they thought it was, he wouldn't be at my daughter's birth if they didn't act fast.
Wow.
So this is basically the basis of what made us start to look at our lifestyle and what's going on, because they did do a biopsy. He wasn't cool with just cutting himself open. He did a biopsy, found out it was benign. And then they said, well, this particular tumor on the kidney is really, really rare. And a big percentage of people get a disease called Van Hippel-Lindau syndrome, where you get little tumors deposited down your central nervous system and nobody's lived past 40. So first I was told 9 months. Then I have my husband back. Then I'm told he only has like 4.5 years. And we're kind of like in a yo-yo here. And living in Canada, we're blessed with, I guess you can call it free healthcare. We pay for it through the nose through our taxes, but that's a whole other. But it takes a long time to get an MRI to see if he had, and to get the genetic testing to see if he had tumors, deposits, and to find out if he had this genetic disease. So his neurologist doctor asked him to go get a retinal exam where they could look through the eyes to see if he had any deposits in the brain. So the ophthalmologist said, good news is you have no tumors. The bad news is that you have developed stages of heart disease. And just a couple of years before, a friend of ours, a young guy, had left a wife and 2 children behind because he had a heart attack while playing floor hockey. And it just all seemed too real for us. So Adam started to do the research. He watched Forks Over Knives. He read the China study. He found Brendan Brazier, who the Vega powder, who founded that company and was a triathlete performing better at an older age than he had at a younger age. And that's when Adam was hooked and he decided to go plant-based. It took me about 6 to 8 months later to join him. But what really made me join him is the day that, it was almost a year later, and from becoming plant-based, and the doctor had said to him, what other doctor are you seeing? What other medicine are you taking? Because we haven't given you anything. We haven't put you on any protocol. So why is your tumor shrinking? And like our mouths dropped and we were just like, he changed his diet. And they're like, sorry, that doesn't go. What else did he do? And he's like, no, I changed my diet. I stopped playing hockey and I got into triathlon, maybe a little bit of meditation. Like that was it. And, from that point on, it was just about getting the kids on board with plant-based, getting me 100% comfortable in the kitchen with it to be day in, day out. And, we made a promise without really making a promise. We kind of made a promise to each other that we were going to do things that were good for our bodies, that were going to keep us here together as long as possible, to be parents for our children, to be partners together in life, because life is too short. And we've just seen the power of plant-based. And when we give our talks, we have the slides of Adam's eyes 1 year apart, and how the arteries are actually, and we'll get into arteries again soon, how the arteries are, they're kind of tapered off as it gets towards the eye, and the color's kind of orange. But then 1 year later, the arteries, they don't taper off anymore, and the blood flow is darker because all that calcium has gone away, all that heart disease has gone away, and his body's functioning properly again.
Wow.
That's quite the journey. And I know it's kind of funny, the light of the situation. We were talking a little bit before coming on this show, and you and I were talking about we were talking about the things of the bedroom and stuff like that. And that was one of the things that came up was some of the first symptoms of heart disease. Mm-hmm. And we were like, let's have a little bit of a conversation about this, because everybody wants to know how to have like more vibrant health and all that fun stuff that comes along with it.
Yeah, we see people aging and we see people getting a lot of diseases. So whether it's heart disease or hormone imbalance or hormone disease or autoimmune disease, we see a lot of people who just aren't themselves anymore, right? Mm-hmm. Like they're not vibrant. They're not feeling great. They don't want to go out hiking. They don't want to go exploring, and they don't want to have fun in the bedroom. And the reason, like how we came up with this topic is, I want to put it out there. I'm no sex expert. That's not my job. It's not what I coach people on at all. But, I help people to have great health and to not just survive, but thrive. And if there's that lack of wanting to be in the bedroom, well, why do you have that? Usually it's because you're too tired, you're too annoyed, your mental health's not good, you're physically not able, or you've just spent it all your energy on everything else all day and you don't want to get there. And I was sitting on a panel at a vegan festival about a year ago, and the question was asked, how did going plant-based change your sex life? So everybody kind of had a different answer, we have so much energy, or I don't know. I don't want to make it.
There's many places.
But, like everybody had their answer. And my answer was, it hasn't. And everybody's face was kind of like, well, you're kind of boring. And I'm like, but let me explain myself. The reason why my sex life is not different is because the first sign of heart disease, or one of the first signs of heart disease, is ED, erectile dysfunction. And because my husband was 35 years old and already had developed stages of heart disease that they were able to see just by looking at the artery in his eyes. And if the arteries in the eyes are clogged, the arteries in the heart are clogged. You don't pick an artery, they all clog. And if we wouldn't have made that change 10 years ago, we would probably be using blue little helpers to do that. And, there's a lot of emotions that men and women feel. Like women feel like, am I not good enough that I can't help him in that area? And men are like, am I not man enough that I can't do it? And it can really tear apart a relationship. But luckily we never had to go through that. So, here we are 10 years later, 9 years later, nothing has changed in that department. And a lot of people our age are starting to get those prescriptions, more people than we would think. So, if we can keep those arteries nice and open so that everything can do its job, people don't realize that, the whole function below the belt is very much based on blood flow. And if blood can't flow because you have so much calcium built up in those arteries and you have so much heart disease, if blood can't flow properly to and from the heart, it's not going to flow properly to the hips and the legs and the toes and everything in between. Everything in between.
Well, and even talking about that, Shoshana, it's, when you go more plant-based, and I'm not plant-based, I mean, predominantly my diet is, but we do consume meat a few days a week. When you do eat cleaner and you do go more plant-based, you feel more. Emotionally, you feel more. So you're better able to connect to your partner as well, on top of the artery.
Absolutely. And also the energy, right? The energy, you feel more vibrant. Your skin, like for me, my acne cleared up. I lost my baby weight finally. My hair, I'm 40 years old. My hair still hasn't turned gray yet. All of these things that keep me feeling, I'm able to exercise. All of these things that keep me feeling youthful and energetic and loving and liking myself and wanting to be loved and liked by my partner. All of those things are just so important. So, it's not just about the heart disease. It's everything together and how good we can feel. And where I've had some clients where they weren't able to make their kids lunch in the morning. They weren't able to drive their kids to school in the morning because their fingers wouldn't be able to work from the rheumatoid arthritis or the osteoarthritis. But changing the diet and adding things in and taking things out not only gave them more energy, got them out of bed, but it makes them able to do those tasks that a lot of other people feel that take for granted, really.
Yeah. Well, and you think of food as we wouldn't, if we stuck bad oil in our car, and I hate to use this analogy, but if we stuck bad oil or fuel in our car, it would clog up the engine. The engine would stop working. So when you think, all of a sudden you think of food as your fuel, if you're consuming bad food and you're consuming the wrong stuff, it's going to clog your engine. It's like you're saying, it's going to back up your arteries. It's going to cause inflammation in places that you shouldn't have inflammation. And you're just not going to run smoothly like you would if you were consuming healthy foods, like you're saying.
Absolutely.
And the vibration too, right? Yeah. I always like to think the vibration, right, of the food that we take from the earth and the energy. And it definitely has a higher vibration than foods that are manufactured in a plant.
Not only that, I mean, if you were to take it one step further, the intention and the love and the emotions that you're feeling while you're cooking, a lot of times that gets transferred into your food as well. So if you're really upset and angry and you've been to the doctor and they've upped your medication and they just can't help you and nothing seems to be working and you can't exercise, so your mental health's not good and your gut bacteria is off, and you're sitting there in a bad mood preparing dinner for your family. Well, if your children are, off their rockers that night and don't wake up really well the next morning, then there's kind of a reason for that. You've transmitted that energy into that food. It's a little, pay attention to it and you'll find it.
Actually, I love that you said that, because when I went through my meditation training and we were looking back in, years ago and in studies like the Ayurvedic teachings, they show that children that are raised where they're sitting at a table in a family that's happy, like community eating, versus ones that maybe are sitting in front of the TV or they're upset or they're crying while they're eating, tend to have more digestive issues. And because I think that's exactly what you're saying, right? There's that love and there's that preparation that goes into it. And you feel that energy when the food goes with, because everything's energy, right? Like the body doesn't know the difference between digesting a thought or an apple. It's still a digestion process.
Absolutely. And a lot of times when we are eating in front of the TV and we're in a rush and we're giving food and there's fighting going on in the house, a lot of times we're also not preparing the proper foods for our children. And there aren't a lot of fruits and vegetables and grains going into that. And there's a lot of fried foods. And that sets off the whole gut bacteria too. And we've seen a lot of children with allergies. We've seen a lot of children on the spectrum. We've seen a lot of children with behavior issues who have really, really made strides because of changing the diet. And a lot of that has to do with the way the stomach is using all those foods we give them, because we have good bacteria and bad bacteria in our stomach. And if our bad bacteria's overgrowth is that much bigger than our good bacteria, then all of these mental health and behavioral and all of these other situations going on become that much more grave.
So does pineapple really work?
I said I'm not.
I'm just kidding.
I'm not going to tell you how to do it better.
I'm joking. We like to have a little bit of fun, right?
The places we could take this.
Well, I mean, we do want to talk about foods that are going to help, that have been researched and known to help elevate your drive in that way. We could definitely look about ginger, because ginger helps to increase blood flow. So like I talked about, blood flow is really important. It says to get your heart going and feel tingly all over your body, but blood flow is really important on the male side to be able to make it happen. Chili peppers, they increase your endorphins, so they make you happier. So you'll be in a Jessica. Pineapple. For anti-inflammatory and vitamin C. So, it helps to regulate your hormones in that way. Asparagus. So asparagus is a weird one. Asparagus does weird things when you go to the washroom. I don't know. It makes it smell, but it's really high in vitamin E. So it also increases that blood flow and helps your hormones as well. So maybe you need to have the asparagus and the pineapple at the same time.
Ooh, let's create a dish.
Well, one for dessert, one for dinner. And avocados also, because of the omega-3 fatty acids, and the potassium. It's all about hormones. It's all about giving your body foods that are going to make you feel amazing. After you have your Thanksgiving turkey dinner or heavy dinner, you're really not in the mood, right? We're talking about eating lots of great starches, lots of foods with micronutrients, right? So we're talking about all different colored fruits and vegetables that are really going to help you feel better. Dark chocolate and red wine, Crystal.
I like that, Crystal.
I think that could work. Okay, so I'm excited to hear a little bit more about the company that you got involved with. I know we've talked a little bit off camera about this, but I'd love if you could share a little bit more about kind of what you've advanced into doing now.
Sure.
It's really interesting. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, in terms of plant trainers, what we're basically doing is helping people improve their quality of life through plant-based nutrition and fitness. And about a year and a half ago before that, so 2 years to a year and a half ago, despite what I'm able to do for everybody else, because of stress and PTSD that I incurred from the story with Adam, of course, I was at a point where stress was beating down so much on me. And despite the exercise and the meditation and eating well, I couldn't kind of get things under control. And my hormones really got off whack. My cortisol levels were not doing well at all. And I came across a biotech company where basically, it's an advanced molecular health company. And what they're doing is they took over 20 years to be able to recreate a redox molecule. A redox molecule is something that's in our body already. It was only found in 1989, and it actually won a Nobel Prize that year. But they're in our body, and that's what helps to create better cells within our body. We talk about oxidative stress, and we talk about free radicals, and we know that it's good to eat antioxidants, but we actually produce antioxidants within our body already. So this redox molecule helps to produce those antioxidants within the body. They help take dying cells or damaged cells and make them full again. And I couldn't get things on track. And what happened was it kind of fell into my lap. Somebody who Adam works with showed it to me, and it was 100% non-toxic. It was not going to interact with any other medications, not that I was on any. It was tested on animals, which I wasn't happy about, but the rats that took it, the only thing that happened to them is they ran 20% faster in a shorter amount of time and recovered even quicker. So it was actually a gift to them. It didn't actually hurt them in the end. And there's no LD50. LD50 is a lethal dose 50. So any pharmaceutical out there, the pharmaceutical companies need to prove at what point these rats that take the medications will 50% of them die, so that they could then do some kind of mathematical situation and figure out how many humans will die, how much humans have to take before humans will die. And that just doesn't exist with this product. So I thought I had nothing to lose because it can't hurt me, no adverse reactions at all. And, within 3 weeks, I went from being completely lethargic, not wanting to podcast, not wanting to wake up in the morning to get my kids on the bus, brain fog galore, really all of these pains in my arm and my thumb and numbness in my hands. And, within 3 weeks that was gone. And I was like, wow, what's going on here? I had all this energy again. So it's like, you get in that, I've been married, I don't know, it's going to be 17 years. So, 15, 16 years, you kind of go through that 15, 16 year slump where you're like, okay, I'm married, but we're in a king size bed, so it's all right to be on both sides. And I had no energy. And all of a sudden I had this energy again. And I was like, okay, I'm a real person again. I'm a mother. I'm a woman. I'm a wife. I'm everything again. And the way that it's been helping people is huge. And part of it is that it helps the elasticity in the heart and in the arteries, and it helps eat away at that calcium a lot like a plant-based diet does as well. So we see so many people with heart disease who are either not willing to change their diet or have tried and haven't been successful, or need a little bit of extra help getting there faster because they're really in dire need of something fast. And heart disease is kind of slipping away, or, their arteries are clearing up. And that's happening with a lot of any symptom you could think of, more or less, this can help with when it's health related. And what we actually see, coming back to our original topic, is that men are actually using their blue pills a lot less. They're having fun for longer. These are the signs. So when the first sign of heart disease is ED, when the ED starts to go away, and it's not because of medication, we start to know that it's because other things are happening in the body. So this technology is just helping people above and beyond what it could. It's 15 years ahead of its time, and mixing that together with everything that I already knew in terms of health, diet, and lifestyle. It's just the best feeling to be able to help people.
Shoshana, I just wanted to say, Crystal was asking, would this help someone with chronic adrenal fatigue? And I'm assuming a little bit with what you described in your story, that would probably be a positive.
Just taking a pause to ask you if you're looking to go plant-based without the worry about what to eat to stay healthy, especially if you can't find the time to do the research. Don't worry, because here at Plant Trainers, we have you covered. If you're looking to up your athletic game or start training for a race or make sure you know exactly what to eat, Adam can solve your dilemmas and help you get to where you want to go.
If you're dealing with inflammation, autoimmune disease, hormone disorders, or need to relieve anxiety with natural techniques, Shoshana can get you feeling like yourself again and in control. Send us an email to info@planttrainers.com and we'll hop on the phone with you. For you, our amazing listeners, this is a complimentary call to get to know you better, see what your goals are, and let you know how we can help. No pressure, but a real connection. What do you have to lose? A few minutes? Let's do this. Contact us at info@planttrainers.com. And now back to the show.
Shoshana, I just wanted to say, Crystal was asking, would this help someone with chronic adrenal fatigue? And I'm assuming a little bit with what you described in your story, that would probably be a positive.
When I went to my naturopathic doctor, she did a test, and the test was a urine test, and she has to put drops in and wait for the urine basically to turn red. Sorry, people. We're talking about all kinds of things today. And she started putting in the drops, and the ideal range was about 17 to 22. And we get to 17, 18, 19, 22, 25, 30. We got to 30 drops, and she's like, Shoshana, I love you, but honey, I'm not wasting any more drops on you. Either in the end of stage 2, beginning of stage 3, or maybe even end stage. So it really doesn't matter what we do next in terms of drops. What matters is the protocol, because that's going to be the same anyway. And when I went back to her 5 weeks later, after starting to use the redox molecules, I was down below a 17. So whether I was in stage 2 or 3, I had moved my way into a stage 1. And then very easily able to move right into the regular stage, the regular range.
Awesome.
Yeah. So in short, I do believe, and I do know that it can. Yes.
From her experience.
From my experience, and my cortisol levels really did change a lot. And so it was making the kids pancakes in the middle of the week and reaching out to new podcast guests. The blog had been on hold, and I'm blogging again, wanting to go out with Adam again and not just doing the things that we needed to do. We were actually like having fun again. It was the biggest joke. We lived 3 minutes away from the mall. It was the biggest joke that if Adam was driving, if I were to actually stay awake from the house to the mall, that was a joke for my children. It was like, look, mommy stayed awake. Ha ha ha. And, I laughed too, but really inside I was pretty much crying because I didn't want to be that person.
Well, and I think there's so many moms and dads that are like, I think we just in our society have normalized that.
Yeah. And we've made it okay to, it's one thing going to bed early, but it's another thing when you don't have time to connect. It's another thing when, it's been 3 months since you've been intimate. It's another thing when you can't walk your kids to the park. This is not the way to live life. We need to be energetic. We were made to be energetic. I mean, we've been made to go out there and basically hunt and gather our food, right? And if you don't have the energy that if there were no grocery stores to be able to do that, then something is wrong, because that's what we were built for.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. Where can people find this product, or do they just contact you through your information?
Yeah, if they want to reach out to me and contact me, then that would be ideal, because what I end up doing is I end up not only offering them 30% off, but I end up being able to coach them through it, because what we know is that it works in 100% of people's bodies, but a lot of the time it's about how you use it and what dose you take. So it's really important to get the results that you want to get, to work with somebody that understands the product, that's worked with other people before, and that can help you through it. And I'm actually, if anybody wants to reach out and say, hey, I watched Soul and Social, I saw you there. I'm really happy to hop on the phone with them for 20 minutes and kind of see what's going on, whether it's from a plant-based point of view or from this biotech point of view, and see how I may be able to help them.
Well, and I think thank you for that.
You're welcome.
And I think it's amazing the transformation that can happen in people when they combine something like what you're talking about, the biotech stuff, and diet and lifestyle and meditation and mindfully preparing your food and all these different things. I think the change in a person can be incredible. It can be literally life-changing. Like, you will never go back.
Absolutely. And, it's really important to take that holistic approach, because you didn't get into this by only not exercising or only not eating well or only not being in good relationships or only being stressed. All of that together over time got us to the point where we are. So we've got to look at everything to kind of get us back. And I'm all for plant-based diet. Anybody who listens to the Plant Trainers podcast knows that that's our number one. But for some people, for some people, thinking about making a new recipe or not driving through a window to get their meal or having to go out and get for that walk, or they're just not there because they don't have the mental capacity. They have the brain fog. They're feeling exhausted. Their hands aren't working. It's hard for them to stand for 20 minutes to cut up some lettuce or what have you, or boil beans or make a bean chili, a lentil chili. But when they get the help, when we get the help from taking a redox molecule supplement, what I see is a lot of people who at first said, Shoshana, I'm not willing to change my lifestyle, so don't make me vegan. Then after they start to follow and they start to listen and they have more energy and they feel real good, and then they want to feel even better, so they're able to start to make some of those lifestyle changes.
Yeah. Well, and I think when you started with Shoshana, it was starting with diet, but over time they implemented more things.
Yeah. Awesome. And I want to say, for those of you who think that, plant-based food isn't going to taste good, Jessica, if I can, Jessica, I used to send her recipes and she used to say, I don't think so. Food was really important to her, Italian background, right? And I'd be like, make this. And she'd be like, that's not going to fly. I'm like, okay, you can do what you want. I mean, within 3 days, I'd have an email or a message in my inbox saying, I'm really, really sorry. And I knew what that meant. She tried the recipe. It was really good. And it was a success for everybody at the table. So a lot of people think that, plant-based food isn't going to taste good, or they've tried everything and plant-based can't help them, or redox can't help them. But when they actually give it a go and they give it a try, they're really surprised.
Well, and what a lot of people I find don't realize is you can get as much protein in your diet through vegetables, beans, through all of the natural foods that are vegan as you can with meat. And your body easily digests it.
Yeah, so that's one of the things. Meat is very hard to digest. We're using so much energy within our body to try to digest that food. That a lot of time comes with bacteria that's not meant for our body, or that still has feces on it. So our body is so busy trying to deal with that it doesn't have the function to be able to deal with the day-to-day things. So our body starts to break down. But the big thing is that we've been taught to think that we need so much more protein in our diet than we do, when in reality we only need 10% of our calories to actually be coming from protein. So for those of us eating 200 grams of protein a day, unless you're a bodybuilder, we don't need that much protein. And we're in this protein crazed society, and it's becoming more and more so. Yet if you follow the stats, we're getting sicker and sicker as a society. Heart disease is the number one killer in Canada and the US. We all put on our seatbelts before we get in the car, but car accidents is not the number one killer. You have a bigger risk at eating chicken and beef 5 days a week of dying than you do driving in a car without your seatbelt on.
Well, and there's also the fact, sorry, Tara, I'll let you talk again. There's also the fact that it's acidic. It's highly acidic. And when we're ingesting acidic foods and our body becomes more acidic, we invite in diseases, autoimmune diseases, cancer, especially cancer and heart disease. And in a perfect world, we need to be alkaline. So, I mean, when you're dealing with plant-based proteins, they are generally more alkaline-based, or they can be easier balanced, especially with food combining.
Yeah, so we have processed meats that are class 1 carcinogen. So regular meats and processed meats. So basically they promote the IGF-1 hormone in the body, and that's the cancer growing hormone. And then we have all of these free radicals, which are, all the toxins in our body and creating more dead cells in our body. And our cells have to reproduce, but cells are dying off, and cells reproduce by creating more of the same. So if you have cells that are creating more damaged cells throughout the body, and all of these dead cells are not being detoxed out, there's so much oxidization happening in the body. Like oxidization is what's happening to your cells is like cutting an apple and leaving it out on the counter, coming home from work and seeing it all brown. That's what's happening to your cells. But when you're eating plant-based foods, you're raising antioxidants within the body because you're eating foods higher in antioxidants, which fights this oxidization, which fights off these free radicals. And then even more so, taking the redox molecules and raising the redox in your body, it could raise your glutathione by up to 800%. And the glutathione is the most important antioxidant in the body. So, and that's alongside what you're eating and what you're producing on your own. I mean, it's kind of like the fountain of youth.
Well, and I'm going to put in one more step there. When you increase your glutathione, you also improve the health of your liver. And our liver is our anger center. So you think of improving that health. Ooh, I get excited about this. You think about improving the health of your liver. All of a sudden you're happier, you're more joy-filled, and you want to have sex more.
Yes. And put another layer. When you're eating the inflammatory foods like the dairy and the meats, you're actually building the bad bacteria within the gut. So going back to the gut, so when you're eating all of these good, micronutrients and fruits and vegetables and all of that, you're raising up your good bacteria.
That's right.
And what's happening is you're stimulating all those happy hormones, right? And your mental health becomes better, and autoimmune disease becomes suppressed, and all of these great things start to happen, and you want to have more sex.
Right? Which improves your health anyways, just sex alone.
Exactly.
That's all you need to do all day to improve your health.
Just sex.
8 hours a day,
Mom.
minimum.
Sorry, Mom.
Recommended by Shoshana.
Yeah. But no, I don't recommend that.
I'm teasing. Jessica says, I'll clarify. If anything, it would have flown with me, but my husband and children, another story. They're officially converted. I love that she said that, because I know for myself, when I went through a bit of a journey and I went through converting my kids over just with different ingredients and just coming from a more, I call it like soul foods, so seasonal, organic, unprocessed, local, as much as possible. And, it's finally figuring out what works and what doesn't work. And I know for me, there was like a lot of recipes made that were, okay. But there's many amazing great ones that once you kind of figure out what works and you do that, like there's a lot out there, like holy, like spiral zucchini pasta, like, yum. There's so many good things that you can do with it. And it's like, and what I don't know, eventually your taste buds change. Like, what is it, like 2 weeks or something for your taste buds to begin to change? Yeah. So once you kind of get in that groove, it just is yummier. It's all yummier.
Out though, had you made non-vegan or non-plant-based recipes, some of those would have flopped too. They're not just flopping because they're plant-based. And that's what people get lost in. They're like, oh, but what if the kids don't like it? I'm like, well, what if you make a new chicken and the kids don't like it? Right? Like, what if you wanted to just eat? They're like, oh, well, it's a lot of work. It can be a lot of work. I'm not going to lie. But if you're going to eat a diet that contains meat, but is very clean and everything's non-processed and made from home, and, not pre-packaged and not wrapped, that's going to be time consuming too. So it's a matter of what is your priority, and change your children's eating habits young. And it was hard for me too. First, it was hard for me to do it because I didn't have the education behind me to know that I wasn't going to screw them up worse by making them plant-based. Not to say that I've screwed them up yet, but but once I got that education and we definitely made that switch with them, it wasn't easy. It was hard. It took like 4 months to get them to eat tofu, just to try it, not even to like it yet. I made it 100 different ways, but eventually you get there. So if you're going to make changes, you may as well make changes for the good.
Well, and I think baby steps is a huge one. Like just one change each day takes you a step further. Like maybe cut out dairy for the day. maybe then pull your meat down to 3 days a week or 2 days a week, or, like I think people get scared too because they think they have to do it all at once.
Yeah. And you don't. And it's, for us, we made our children vegetarian before they went vegan, and they were still eating. Yeah. And one day they said to us, we really don't like eggs. We don't want to eat them anymore. And they had kind of figured out what eggs were also. So they were like totally against eggs. And I'm like, well, if you're against eggs, then we're just going to take everything left away and we'll find you different kind of cheese. And it's not going to taste the same and it's not going to feel the same, but that's what's going to be in our house for now on. So if you say goodbye to eggs, you say goodbye to cheese, but you say hello to new cheese, and you need to start eating beans. And they're like, we swear, we'll eat the new cheese and we'll eat the beans. Well, they ate the new cheese and they didn't quite eat the beans, but we made it there eventually.
Baby steps.
Baby steps. Yeah.
I have to say, one of the best remedies to get your kids to not eat eggs, we did this, is incubate. We had Lang hens. And we incubated the eggs, and all of a sudden it wasn't just being told that, chickens lay eggs for bait. Like, there are babies in there, little chicks. Once they saw them, it was like, yeah, no, we were allergic to them, but yeah, they're like, no,
my kids had a realization they never ate pork before, but they had the realization with pork products, because chicken is a chicken and it's called chicken when you eat it. And, but a fish is fish and eggs are eggs, but you don't call it pig when you put it down on the plate, right?
No.
So they like, one day we had come home from a farm, from a sanctuary, and they were like, wait, that's bacon? Like, they didn't get it. They didn't get it until then. And it was really sad for them.
But I think it's good, because even if you don't cut out meat, but just introducing your children to the fact that these are animals. So if you choose to eat meat, being mindful of the fact that we don't waste meat. And that was one good thing, because we did raise our own chickens. That was one good thing my children did realize is, wait a minute, this is actually this is a living being, and we named it. And so when we'd have the meal, you'd be thankful and you'd connect with the fact that, and I mean, it's disturbing, especially for plant-based people, I get that. But for those who do eat meat, it's okay if that's what you choose, but being mindful of the fact that this was a living being. So eating a small amount versus a gigantic amount too,
Such a good step in the right direction. And I think parents are scared to not give their children meat, or cut down the meat to even 2-3 times a week, because they're not sure if they're going to get all the right nutrients, if their brains are going to develop properly. But the information that's out there that people aren't getting on a regular basis is that children that are eating a standard North American diet, who are dying at the age of 10 for other reasons, are getting autopsies. And there's the beginning stages of heart disease in these 10-year-old children. Yes. So if we're able to minimize the amount of meat that we eat, if we're able to increase lifestyle practices by just a little bit, if we're able to cut out the meat, dairy, eggs, fish completely, even if your children do decide to take another path when they leave the house, the gift that you're giving them is a 10, 15, 18-year start on better health. Because like I said, heart disease is the number one cause of death here in North America, and it's only getting worse.
Well, and you think, I know a lot of people are shocked when they hear this statistic, but your child having a hot dog once a week increases their chances of developing leukemia by 80%. That's one hot dog a week. So I agree completely with what you're saying, making mindful choices, whichever way you go. And I am all for plant-based, but for those who are just scared to bite that off right now. Yeah.
So we're not going back to our original.
So Shoshana, you're going to tell us a little bit about the Plant Trainers podcast and where people can find that, and what kind of things do you talk about over there?
All right. So the Plant Trainers podcast is exactly that. We talk about plants and we talk about training or fitness. So we're helping people to improve their quality of life through nutrition and fitness. We have on the leading doctors in plant-based nutrition. So if you're familiar with the China study written by T. Colin Campbell, he's been on the show. Nutrition.org, Dr. Greger, who does all those quirky little videos, he's been on the show. Dr. Davis, we've had Rich Roll, we've had amazing athletes on the show. the list doesn't stop. We recently just had Dean Ornish, and he's coming up again too.
Ooh.
The father of lifestyle medicine.
Yeah.
We have amazing guests on. Adam and I come on once a month, and we kind of have a little episode around the questions that are being asked from our audience. And we have a good time, and we have a great time on the show. We're really active on Instagram, so we have a lot of the podcasts being posted there and a lot of listeners interacting there as well. All kinds of fun memes as well too. And yeah, so we do one-on-one coaching. Adam's an endurance coach and helps people with their diet. And, you know, like you said at the beginning, Tara, I help people to overcome their surviving and help them thrive again. And I do a lot of that through plant-based nutrition, fitness, stress reduction. And for some people as well, I incorporate the redox molecules and just watch them have amazing results there.
I love that.
Yeah, I love it. And how long you've been doing this for a while? Like the podcast has been on for.
Yeah, so we just released number, I'm going to say 305. So we have over 300 episodes. We've been doing it for 4.5 years now, strong and going. Most podcasts, you know, don't make it till their first year. So we're really, really proud of that. And taking everything that we've learned in the last 4 years, we've actually put it together, everything we've done right, everything we've done wrong. We have created the ultimate plan for anybody who wants to start their own podcast and not make the mistakes that we did and get it right off and going. People, coaches, trainers, people who have such an important message to send out to the world. We're actually starting the Vegan Podcast Academy, helping people to get their podcast up and launched within 7 to 30 days so that they can just help make the world a better place. And we are super excited about that.
That's awesome. I love it.
Yeah, thanks.
So, Renee, do you have any other questions for Shoshana today? This has been like all good stuff, foodies.
I guess where are you guys going with this? I could keep going on the food conversation for hours, so we won't go there. But what's the next step for you guys?
So our next step is launching the Vegan Podcast Academy. So if anybody wants to know more about it, even if they're not vegan, but their message is vegan, their message is about being the best that they can be and creating a better world, then they can reach out to me personally, or they can join our Facebook group at Plant-Based Health, Nutrition, and Fitness. So all the information is going to be going in there. And we will have information about it coming out on the podcast that could be heard on any podcasting platform, Stitcher, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, what have you, and at planttrainers.com.
And what is one thing you would like to leave people with?
I just want people to know, I mean, the whole reason why we started Plant Trainers was because Adam had this problem. And had he not had this problem, had he not found the tumor, had he not found out about the heart disease, things could have been really, really different. And it took us finding out about that to make a life change. What I would like to do for people is to tell you to be proactive. Don't wait until you have heart disease, until you have an autoimmune disease, until your hormones are out of whack to start making changes. It's never too early, to eat more plant-based, to start exercising, to meditate, to take a redox signaling molecule that can help prevent getting into a situation like we were, because it didn't just affect him. I suffered from PTSD and still have some mental health issues going on about it. His parents, my parents, our siblings, everybody, friends, family, everybody's affected by it. So don't wait for that big moment. This can be your aha moment. And if you're not sure what to do next, I'm really happy to help you.
I love it. Thank you so much for joining us. This has been awesome. It's always nice to have another foodie on. And there's so many.
We've never had another foodie on.
We haven't. That's what I mean.
I was thinking about it. I'm like, have we had a foodie on before? I don't think so.
You need to have soul food. Come on.
I know. Maybe that's what I should do. Thank you so much for coming on. We so value your knowledge, your experience. And I think it's amazing when you can take a life experience like you guys have gone through and be so open and raw and honest about it, because I think so many people can relate on different levels. And I think change happens through sharing those moments. And I think it makes it all worthwhile when you can do what you're doing today to help others.
Thank you. It was definitely hard to share at the beginning, but knowing what it can do for others was what made me put it out there and feel extremely vulnerable at first.
Yeah, no, I think it's beautiful. And I think the changes you've made for your family, are amazing.
It's awesome. I absolutely love it too. And I can relate on so many levels through my own experience over the last couple of years too. And I absolutely love what you're doing, because it's great hearing people come out and be raw and real about it and share their experience, and then the benefits. Because if you're quiet about it, how could you think of all of the podcast episodes that you've had and how many clients that you've helped? And that wouldn't be possible if Shoshana just sat in her room with the door closed and didn't tell anybody.
No, but I did that for a long time, sat in the door closed and cried for a really long time. Got past that. But thank you so much for providing this platform for me and all your other guests, because it's making a really big impact on all of your listeners and watchers.
Thank you so much.
Food questions.
And Jessica, next time I will ask you food questions. You just wait, girl. This is going down.
Well,
thank you so much for watching. Thank you, Canada. We value your time.
Thank you so much,
appreciate you being here. And if you have any questions, please comment below. We will be posting Shoshana's links below as well. So thank you, everybody who watched. Have a great night, and try and breathe safely through this smoke we have here in Alberta.
Be safe, everybody, and take advantage of the night.
Thank you so much.
Thank you all so much for listening to this edition of the Plant Trainers Podcast. We want to make sure that you subscribe on iTunes, Google Play, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, or any other podcasting platform.
We really appreciate the feedback we receive from you. Every time we get a 5-star rating or review on iTunes from one of our fans, it really helps other people find us, just like you did.
Thanks so much to our patrons. To become a patron, visit us at patreon.com/planttrainers. Even supporting us with $1 really makes a difference in the quality of the show.
And don't forget to connect with us on Instagram and Twitter. Our handle is @PlantTrainers. Like Plant Trainers on Facebook, join our newsletter, and check out our website at planttrainers.com for awesome recipes, a list of our services, and of course, our latest podcast.
We encourage you to email your questions to info@planttrainers.com so that we can help you improve your quality of life through nutrition and fitness.
So we hope we've inspired you today. Join us again next time, and have a healthy day. Or is that too corny?
It's a little cheesy.